Well, good morning and welcome to chapel for this Thursday, the 21st of May, the final chapel service before half term. And what a strange term it's been, like none that we've ever had before. But we are going to continue doing some things which we normally do at this stage of term. And one of those is to say goodbye, sadly, to some of our leaving members of staff. And each year I offer those who have been with us at least 3 or 4 years or more the chance to address the whole school in chapel and share some parting words with you. And so it is my great pleasure that this morning we will be hearing from Mrs. Ellis, who has a very long association with Cranleigh School, as you'll hear in a moment. She'll be sharing some great wisdom with you, really worth watching that and listening to her words. After Mrs. Ellis has spoken to you, we're then going to have our next Hymns from Home, as some senior pupils sing for us what has become the de facto school anthem, The Holy City. So hang on, enjoy listening to Mrs. Ellis, and then enjoy listening to your peers singing The Holy City. Have a great day, have a wonderful half term, and God bless.
When Rev Lewis asked me if I would speak in chapel this term, the image of walking up to the Eagle and speaking in front of you all made me a little nervous. Those of you who have been involved with the theatre know that I am firmly a backstage person. Recording this, however, might be just as daunting. Plus, I have to listen back to my own voice. Despite the nerves, though, I'm thankful to have the opportunity to address you all before Mr. Ellis and I move on to pastures new. I would like to offer what I hope will be a few words of wisdom, which I've learnt during my time at Cranleigh. That's 16 years in total. I'm not often made to feel old, but none of you were born when I started my first Cranleigh experience. Anyway, more on that later. I have picked lines from 3 of my favourite musicals to encapsulate each piece of advice. So if you take nothing else away from this talk, then you at least have 3 solid recommendations for the theatre when they eventually reopen. Firstly, from Hamilton. Look around at how lucky we are to be alive right now. Now, bear with me. I know we're not necessarily feeling all that lucky right at this moment. We miss our friends and family that we can't be with. We're anxious and uncertain. And for those of us who are fortunate enough to be healthy at the moment, going to the supermarket is both the most exciting and the most stressful part of our week. But looking deeper, you see that it boils down to us missing that wonderful community that we have here. I know that as a school, we use the word community a lot, but sometimes you really don't know how lucky you are until it's taken away, albeit temporarily. In the current situation with so many unknowns, I'm sure that you are all relying on your school friends, tutors, teachers and house staff for support. It would be easy to imagine that everyone from outside our community is in the same position, but I can tell you for certain that they are not. The community we have here is stronger than the individual friendships that we all have, and I've seen this school come together in joy, in celebration, in pride and in grief. And in those times, you find out again and again just how strong we all are together. So, from a safe social distance, or perhaps via Google Meet, look around at how lucky we are to be alive right now. Next, from Matilda the Musical, inspired by the story by Roald Dahl, nobody but me is going to change my story. I mentioned my first Cranleigh experience earlier, and I was reminded of it during the speech that my dad gave at my wedding to Mr. Ellis back in January. I started in Form 1 at Cranleigh Prep School back in 2001. It was the first year they took girls, and there weren't that many of us. It remains to this day the only time I was ever selected for an A team in sport, and I'm pretty sure I was just making up the numbers. Anyway, even before I arrived for my first day, I had decided that I did not like Cranleigh, and I was going to hate every moment of it. Most of my friends, certainly all of the girls, were going elsewhere, and I was convinced I would be miserable. But at some point during that first term, I forgot to be miserable. I forgot to hate it, and I've never looked back. When I was older, a very wise member of Common Room told me that the people who put the most into Cranleigh are the ones who get the most out. And they could not have been more right. It took time for me to realise it, but it is so true of life in general, not just here at school. Only you can decide which opportunities you're going to take. Nobody but you is going to change your story. So get thinking, and think big. Finally, from Les Miserables, a musical very close to my heart, the line, "Even the darkest night will end, and the sun will rise." If, in my 5 years here as a tutor, I can hope to have imparted one lasting piece of advice to my tutees, it would be that sentiment. It would be wrong of us to pretend that every day will be brilliant, that everything will always go your way, or that life won't sometimes just be unfair, that you won't ever suffer with regards to your mental health. All we can do is try to prepare you so that you can handle those setbacks and continue to see how lucky we are to be alive right now. When I first met Mr. Ellis, he was working on a one-man show called Every Brilliant Thing. It's by a playwright called Duncan Macmillan and an actor-comedian called Johnny Donahoe, and I would thoroughly recommend that you see it or read it if you ever get the chance. It's a story about a little boy who writes a list of all the brilliant things in the world to try and help his mother, who struggles with mental health problems. It's funny, sad, and silly, and it really makes you think. One line in particular has stuck with me. Things get better. They might not always get brilliant, but they get better. So whatever happens in your futures, whatever you have to face, remember that you will get through it. It might not happen straight away, and I can almost guarantee that you will need the support of your community, whoever they might be. But the sun will rise. Thank you.
Last night I lay a-sleeping.
There came a dream so fair.
I stood in old Jerusalem, beside the temple there. I heard the children singing,
And ever as they sang,
methought the voice of angels from heaven in answer rang. Methought the voice of angels from heaven in answer rang.
Jerusalem,
Jerusalem,
lift up your gates and sing.
Hosanna in the highest. Hosanna to your King.
And then methought my dream was changed, the streets no longer rang.
hush were the glad hosannas, the little children sang.
The sun grew dark with mystery, the morn was cold and chill, as the shadow of a cross arose upon a lonely hill.
As the shadow of a cross arose upon a lonely hill.
Jerusalem, Jerusalem,
Hark how the angels sing, Hosanna in the highest. Hosanna to your King.
And once again the scene was changed, new earth there seemed to be.
I saw the holy city beside the tideless sea. The light of God was on its streets, the gates were open wide.
And all who would might enter, and no one was denied.
No need of moon or stars by night, or sun to shine by day. It was the new Jerusalem that would not pass away.
Jerusalem, sing, for the night is o'er.
Hosanna in the highest. Hosanna forevermore.
Hosanna in the highest. Hosanna forevermore.